Good afternoon, pumpkins. Weather's a bit crap at the moment, moon's up as well. While I'm waiting with bad weather and full moons and not able to do astronomy anyway, I'd run through a little test. What I wanted to do this time was something a little bit different than just stacking and processing data. I wanted to do a video that shows the difference between... That was a noisy car. I wanted to do a video that shows the difference between a single shot with a mobile phone camera attached to a telescope. Then we'll jump up to 10 stacked shots, 50 stacked shots, 100 stacked shots, and just see the difference and how stacking, even with mobile phone images, is important and how your results can get better and better. We're not going to process any of this. We're literally just going to show the difference between a single frame, 10 stacked images, 50 stacked images, and 100 stacked images, and have a look at them and talk about them. I've got some data in here. We've got 10 lights, 2 dark. The darks I'm going to increase the number of darks. So when I get to 100 darks, it's going to be 100 lights is going to be 10 darks. 50 lights, I'll just use 5 darks. 10 lights, 2 darks. So there's sort of some consistency to it. So let's hit run and see what we get with this. Then once we've done this one, running now, I'll do the same for 50 and 100, and we'll come back and we'll compare all 4 images: single, the 10 stack, the 50 stack, and the 100 stack.
One eternity later.
Okay, we are back and we are recording, and every time I move, it moves with me. We have our stacks. We have here the single frame, 10 frames, 50 frames, and 100 frames. And I'll be honest, there doesn't look to be a lot of difference between them right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to blur exterminate, noise exterminate, and we're going to save them. And I wasn't going to post-process them, but I am going to now post-process them. We'll crop them all as well. We'll chuck them in Photoshop. We'll do the same sort of, we'll chuck them in Grexpert first, balance the background. Let's chuck them in Photoshop and tweak them equally, the same things. And we'll see what the difference is, because there should be a difference. We have our data now, it's been stacked, and I've done blur exterminator, noise exterminator, thrown it through Grexpert, sort of try and balance the backgrounds. And now we have the 4 different shots open up in Photoshop. So I'm going to do the same thing to all of them. Can you see me? Yeah, I'm here. There we go. Now it's tracking nicely. Okay, we have our data stacked. Well, some of it is stacked. One image is not. It was just post-processed. So all of the images have been, well, except for one, stacked and chucked into Grexpert to balance the background, and then through Photoshop to have some post-processing done. Brighten it, bring out the nebulosity, remove stars, all that sort of stuff, chuck that together. The first one we're looking at here, this is a cropped single frame, which has actually come out a lot better than I thought it would. This is just a single 55-second image of Lagoon Nebula. This is just some old data that I had lying around. It's not the best data, but it works to show the reasons why you should stack your data and take data. Probably flats as well, but I don't do that yet because I'm slack. As you can see, this one, it's not a bad little image. This from a little Lagoon Nebula for a 55-second image. It's got some good nebulosity. It's a little bit bottly in that, but not bad. We jump across to 10 frames, which ended up having no darks because it didn't like having 2 darks. It just went, no, I'm not going to use it. But this is just 10 frames, so you can see already the difference. Let's just bring this in a little bit so it's a bit more. There we go. So you can see the difference here. You can see there's more refined details around these sort of like these outer regions of the nebulosity. The globules are much more defined, and the colouring is a bit more intense. And if you jump up to the 50, bang, massive difference here. There's more nebulosity shown now compared to the first one, the second one, and the third one. You can see it's starting to push further and further out, getting more and more data appearing. So simple 50 shots with 5 darks. That's all I had. 5 darks, nothing else. It really brings out Lagoon Nebula so much better. You can already see, so you can see it's a bit darker around these edges here. There's no, in particular in this bottom left, I would say, you get so much more coming through now than you do on the previous one. Up towards the top, it just everywhere is just more intense, brighter. Now remind you that these have gone through exactly the same processing. They're not processed any heavier than any of the others. And then if we jump across to the 100 frames, again, even more detail. Just a lot more detail. a lot more colour, a lot more vibrancy in there. The amount of nebulosity shown has increased dramatically. Like I said, this isn't the greatest data. It's not the best phone data I've ever taken, but it clearly shows 1 frame, it's okay. 2 frames, that looks a lot better. 3 frames stacked, whoa. Pretty cool. 4 frames, you really start to get a lot more detail coming in at those big pocket areas sort of around it. In particular, the outer edge. The internal area hasn't really changed as much from the 10 frames through to the 100 frames, but it's those outer sort of softer, less intense areas that have started to really pop when you're going from 1 stack through to 100 images stacked. So that there is the prime example as to why you should stack your data even if you're imaging on a phone. It doesn't matter that it's a phone. It doesn't matter that the sensor's tiny. You can see the difference. 1, 10, 50, 100. And like I said, not great data either, but still you just can see so much more nebulosity from in those outer regions that you just don't get in the other ones. So for me, this is why I stack. I stack because it just seriously improves your images. So I mean, this is why we do astrophotography. We want to push our technology that we use. We want to push our cameras to the limits, and the best way to do that and to get the way to get the best results is to stack. We've improved the signal to noise ratio. We've improved the detail. Now, there's not a great deal of detail in that first image, and by the time you've got 100 images, you've got far more data there to play with. It just is a better way to do it. So I highly recommend to any one of you out there doing mobile phone imaging and capture multiple images, 60 plus. 60 images is a minimum, especially if you're doing 30 seconds plus. You are going to see a difference in the results. Stack them in whatever program you want to use. I use PixInsight. I also use AstroPixel Processor. They're the two that I'm used to using. You can use Cyril, you can use any program. You can do it in Photoshop. I don't know how to do it in Photoshop, but you can. And then I would highly recommend getting Grexpert. It's free and it helps balance that background. And then if you've got Photoshop or GIMP, you can throw it into Photoshop or GIMP and you can start working through those programs to sort of bring the nebulosity out. It is well worth doing it. You will definitely see dramatic improvement in your results from your phone imaging because it's exactly the same as proper astrophotography. If you're doing proper astrophotography with real cameras, that's what you do. You collect your data, you stack it, and you process it. It is no different for a phone. Anyway, I hope that has helped you. You've got something from it. Got any questions, chuck them in the comments section. I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, that's the reason why I do it, and it shows you the results are it's worth pursuing. The results are great. Anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, merch store, AstroPuNk store, and I'll see you in the next video.